Well, hello everyone. Well, welcome to our TISOH Hospitality Summer Speaker Series. For those who don't know me, my name is Anthony Lai. I am the Student Affairs Program Manager here at TISOH. For tonight's webinar, it will be hosted by Kevin Dennis, CPCE, owner of Wedding IQ. In his talk, Kevin Dennis will teach us event pros on how to integrate these top tech applications for events seamlessly into your event businesses while updating existing processes and appeal to the upcoming audience that will demand more in today's virtual climate. I'm very excited to see what event techs we have in store, Kevin. So Kevin, I'm going to hand over the speaker to you. If you don't mind sharing us a little bit about yourself and your professional background.
So my name's Kevin Dennis. I am from Livermore, California. We're going to be talking about apps that I use for my company, as well as, stuff that we can have for fun. We're going to dive into that at the end. There we go. All right. So goals for today, we're going to get in and talk about apps. The biggest thing is not all apps are cloud-based. Most, some just work just on your phone, but we're going to get in and talk about, I like apps that work on your phone, your iPad, and your laptop as well. You're also going to figure out which ones I use in my own business. And the biggest thing is I want you to try today to walk away with one app that you can use and implement immediately. And the biggest thing to think about is it going to save you time and money? That's the biggest thing. When I look at an app, sometimes there's a fee involved with an app, but for me, is it going to save me time? So is it worth the $40 for the year for the subscription? And then move forward from there. All right. So the biggest thing right now is we have time on our hands with all the COVID stuff going on. And I want you guys to go out, look at your iPad, look at your, your phones, and start deleting apps that you don't use anymore. Because a lot of people will download an app and think it's really great, and then maybe use it for a hot minute, or they download it and don't really like it, but still leave it on their phone. But a lot of times then it's still getting updated, and you're wasting space on your phone or your iPad or your tablet. So that's the big one thing that I think a lot of people they forget to do. And since we're stuck in our houses and can't get out much anymore, now is a good time to kind of sanitize all our products. So the other thing I want you to think about is when your apps are updating. So that's another time you can find, oh, I haven't used this app in forever. So maybe, instead of updating it, you should go in and just delete it. But the other biggest thing is a lot of people have their phones set on automatic update, and it's not to your benefit to do that. And the reason being is a lot of times the app developers will put what they've updated in the app, in the update itself. So the functionality of the app may no longer, one of your favorite apps may no longer work the same. So therefore, if you read about what they've changed, most of the time, like you see right here, it's just we fix bugs and to get things running smoothly. That's kind of their generic, like we heard your complaints and we're fixing it. But there's a lot of times where it's like, hey, we're unveiling a new feature, or this is what we're doing. And if you have your phone set on automatic updates, you go to use the app after it's updated, and you have no idea the functionality of it anymore. So I think it's always a good idea to read what you're updating, but it's also a good time to find, if there's an app in there that you're not using anymore. So. And this is something that I have all the time here. It's kind of a joke, but there's an app for everything. As you can see, this is how far away we are from Christmas. But the point I'm showing you this is sometimes if you're having a hard time finding an app, or you wish there was an app that did X, Y, or Z, if you Google what X, Y, or Z is, and a lot of times you will find, you'll find your need. And this is, I accidentally, years ago, one of my aunts was going crazy and wanted a countdown for Christmas. And I was like, there's got to be an app for that. And sure enough, I found this and gave it to her. But that's my point is, I might not talk about something today, but you wish you found an app that did something. I'm pretty sure there's something out there that would be pretty comparable to that. So use a little search function in the App Store and you'll find what you're looking for. So we went over a little bit who I am. we don't need to get into that. Biggest thing you're going to see is the app Kevin approved. So if you see that pop up on there, that means it's easy to use. It's worth the money, and it's something that does, it works on desktop and mobile. That's important to me. I like, as much as we're going to a mobile society and using our iPads and our phones for everything, I still much would rather work off a laptop than doing stuff on my phone. It's funny because my wife she does everything from Amazon to you name it. Everything's on her phone, and it's like a foreign language when she goes the other way. So, but that's what's important to me. All right, so we're going to jump into some of the apps that I use. So right here, the first one I use, it's a free app. I love it. It's called Photo Circle. So it's originally set up for people to share photos, a real easy way. But what we've done is with our staff is we've created circles, and those are basically folders. And what we do is our staff, while they're out on a job site, they have to take photos of what they're setting up or what the client ordered, and have it set up in its final state and ready to go. But the biggest thing is then they have to upload it to Photo Circle. And before one of our staff leaves, if it's not one that myself or one of my key managers are on, we have to then jump on Photo Circle, look at it, and make sure everything looks really good, before they go. It's to our standards. It's to what we wanted. But the other thing that's been cool about this is that we, for the folks that do our social media, it's a great way to find the behind the scenes shots, especially if it's a new product that we just put up, we can send the iPhone photo version of it instead of the fancy version to the client. So Photo Circle is a great app. It's free, and we found multiple uses for it. So obviously we're on Zoom right now, but I've been using Zoom long before Zoom became popular, in COVID, so to speak. So Zoom had 10 million users prior to COVID, and they have over 200 million users last I heard, and that number probably is growing, by the day, so to speak. But living in the Bay Area, I find with my clients, I can get more done when I do Zoom meetings with them in a day rather than meeting with them in person. And the Bay Area traffic is pretty horrible. So, San Francisco is really not that far away, but in traffic, it could take 2.5 to 3 hours to get from where I live to San Francisco. So Zoom has been helps my clients. It helps me. I get more done. I find that a meeting that would normally take me an hour to do, I can do in about 30 minutes on Zoom. It's a lot quicker. People, they get on, they get what they want and move on. So highly recommend Zoom. And they have a lot of great features on there that you can do as well. So freeconferencecall.com. So sometimes it's an app that we use when we have to get lots of people on the phone. It is free. They do ask for everyone at one point in the year to give a little donation to them to keep them going. I don't know. They've been doing that for a long time, and it's a very interesting platform for me that they don't just charge for it. But I guess because their name is free, conference call, they keep it free for that reason. But I find you can get 15, 20 people on a conference line, and then that way you don't have to, sometimes you just need to use a phone call instead of doing it over Zoom. So free conference call is something that we use sometimes, like pre-show stuff or post-event wrap-up, that kind of stuff. That's what we tend to use. So Grammarly. So if you're like me and had to take your freshman English class again your sophomore year, Grammarly is your best friend. So it's a great thing. It works on iPads, iPhones, as well as it works. There's a desktop version of it as well. And then there's even a plugin that you can plug into your web browsers. It works with, I know, at least Firefox, Safari, and Chrome. It'll work with those. So it's a great tool. It makes you sound smarter than you are, but I highly recommend it, especially because you want to have great communication with your clients. So ZipWhip. So ZipWhip is an app that we've been using, and we use more the desktop version of this than we do use the app. Because we use it for while we're at work more than we use it for while we're off work. So, but basically, it turned our main phone line here at Fantasy Sound into a textable number. And so a lot of our clients nowadays want to text, and so we give them that number, and it's great because what's great about this is that you can see on the left there, it keeps track of everyone's name and phone number, but then it also keeps track of their entire conversation. So it never deletes the conversation. So if a client came back to you and said, well, 3 months ago, I texted your office and said this, we can actually go back and look 3 months ago and see exactly what the client said. This is a little bit of a pricey service. I will say I spend a little over $100 a month for it, but we find that it keeps our clients extremely happy, especially those, we live in a lot of the wedding market, and so our clients are always getting younger, we're getting older. So I always find that they prefer to talk through text messaging, and ZipWhip was the best platform that we found that worked for us. So it's pretty powerful. We enjoy it. So Boomerang. So this is for all the Gmail users out there. It's a great app, and what it does is you can set it to go. So you could be working on an email and you don't want it to go until, hey, I'm walking out of my office at 5 o'clock. I don't want to hear back from this client anymore today. So you could set it to leave your inbox at 4:59 today, or you're working from home and you're getting a bunch of your emails done at night, but you don't want your clients to know that you're working at night. You just, set it up in Boomerang to send it. You can send it at 8:30 the next morning, 9:30. You pick the time that you want it to go. And you can even set for when you receive messages. So if you need a break, you can kind of pause your incoming messages as well. So, but it's a great app, especially, for your Gmail folks out there. So here's some other apps that I think, are beneficial in the communication. Zello and Slack and JoinMe. Join.me, I think, is, I moved it to this screen because I think Zoom is really going to take over Join.me because it's so easy now to share your screen. And then the other one that we used to use, we found another platform for is Better Proposals. So that's a good one right there as well. So, all right, scheduling. So Acuity is what we use here at Fantasy Sound to schedule all our client meetings. And the great thing is we've gone in and set up all the parameters for it. But what we do is we allow the clients to schedule their own meetings on their own time, and it's based on the parameters that we've set up, behind the scenes. The kind of the power in that is you find when you try to schedule an appointment with someone and you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you no longer have to do that with an app like Acuity, because what ends up happening is you send it out, you send them a link to your schedule, they find what works for them, and then it gets scheduled. The other nice feature about this is, hey, things happen, people need to reschedule, and that happens all the time, is the clients can get in there up to whatever time you set it up to. We have ours up to 48 hours before the meeting. They can go in and reschedule their meeting on their own. And then the reason why we moved it to 48 hours, because we found people, like we'd have a really busy day of client meetings on Saturdays, and then on Friday nights they're in there, rescheduling because they decide they had too much fun Friday night and then don't want to go, to their wedding meeting the next day. But we found that the 48 hours worked really well for us. But there's a lot of power. This saves you time. There's a fee involved, but the biggest part I find with Acuity, it's the time that you save going back and forth with clients. It's a game changer. So, and here's kind of what it looks like when you would go to schedule, what would you like to schedule, type of a meeting, and then go from there. And then we have it, dictated out how long it normally takes. Really easy to use. So Doodle is...
Hey, Kevin.
Yep.
Hey, sorry. We actually got a question from Jody while you're on the Acuity presentations. Do you know
Sure.
what's the difference between Acuity and Calendly?
So it's hard to say Calendly. They're basically the same thing. It's like Apple or PC, Coke diet, Coke, Pepsi. It's more your flavor. I mentioned Calendly here in a little bit. For some reason, I love Acuity. It worked for me. I like the platform better than Calendly. And but I have a lot of good friends like Megan Ely, someone that I talk to almost every day. She loves Calendly. But they're both same thing. They do the exact same thing. Any more questions? Are we good?
We
Nope.
are good. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So Doodle. So Doodle's a great thing to do is if you're trying to schedule meetings with multiple people. And so you put it out there and everyone votes on a time that they're available. And then the great way is you're not, I find, especially because when we use it with a big group, like for my NACE group, we'll schedule like an impromptu meeting or something, and we'll go in there. And the biggest thing is you see that, hey, 7 out of 8 of us can get it on this day, and that's the most people we can get together on one point, then we're going to go for it. Or you can say, hey, 8 out of 8, we can all get together on this date. That's the time we're going to do it. So it's a great way to go in and vote. You're basically voting for when you're available to meet with people. So I find I use it more on my, NACE world, WIPA world than I do using it on with clients, but I have used it when we put together a couple of big events and we're all like for pre-show or post-show, stuff. We kind of do that just to kind of figure out when we all can get together. So a lot of power in that. All right, when I work. So if you have employees, I find this has been a game changer for us. When we first started with them, they didn't even have a time clock part of it. And then the time clock, it was just basically an app to schedule your staff. And then shortly down the road, after 6 months we had it, they added the time clock platform. And then the power in this app is we have, sometimes your client or your staff is not starting on, at your warehouse, they're going straight to the job site. Well, they can actually clock in and clock out through their iPad or their iPhone, through the app itself. And the great thing is about it is it's geolocated. So they can't, they can't clock in while they're driving to the event. It only works once they get there. And so, and the other great thing is, employees can request time off. And it's when you run payroll, you hit the button, runs payroll, and it calculates everything for you, gives you a report, and you enter it right into your payroll processing service. So it's, we used to do everything through spreadsheets and, this is years ago, but send out people, their schedule, and then they'd all have to email back that they did it. And now they just go in and we send out the schedules, they hit confirm, and it's done. So when we get back to doing events, if you don't have any kind of thing like this for your employees, I highly recommend it. So in here, like we said, here's some other ones that you can use for scheduling. Clara is very much like, almost like Boomerang, but a little bit creepier. I always say it's got a little bit more AI technology behind it, but there's Calendly. And then Lasso is great if you're doing like a big event and you need to communicate with your staff during the event. So if you, you have 50 to 100 people, you're working a big event, and all of a sudden you can be communicating with your staff through that app while, during the event, and letting them know, hey, we need help over here, or hey, this is going on, or, we need cleanup over here, and you can get good communication that way. So finances. So Square started out as that little, dongle that went in the bottom of your thing, but Square's really becoming, really working hard at becoming your one-stop solution for small businesses. So, on top of, doing, credit card processing, you can do invoices through them now. You can do, they even have like a, you can communicate with your clients through like a newsletter type platform. They have payroll. You can set up a Square store. So they're really, and I find that I noticed just recently they unveiled a restaurant platform, so they have a POS system for restaurants now. And so they're really starting to work hard at becoming a solution for businesses. And the one thing I do like about Square, their rates are a little higher. I find that it's a little bit, the easy use, it's so easy to use. It's because we started with Square, went away from Square for a little bit, went back to our credit card, our person that normally has provided our credit card processing for years, because they're like, we have a platform just like Square. Well, we tried it for about 4 months and it was horrible, to the point where the girls that work for me, they're like, this doesn't work, and so we gave them like everything that was wrong with it, and we went back to Square, and we were saving a little bit of money, but it's just, once again, time is money, and if it's easy to use, then you need to go with it. But Square is a good one for that. And then QuickBooks, obviously, QuickBooks on the go makes it easy to, do sales receipts. And even like Square, you can process credit cards through them now, as long as you set it up with a processor. But you can do a lot of some of the stuff that you can do with Square. And it's really simple to use. Input money out, scan receipts right in on your phone. They've come a long way. QuickBooks has to making accounting easier, so to speak. So, and FreshBooks is, like I mentioned, Megan Ely, she uses FreshBooks and has been using it for years and loves it. It's very similar to QuickBooks, but not as powerful. And then obviously Venmo. So file storage, I always say this is the non-sexy part of the presentation because it's kind of boring storing files, but it's important. So obviously, we use in our office called Cloud Station. So it's basically our own personal Dropbox that is set up. We have a Cloud Station server here in our office, and the functionality of it is it works very similar to like Dropbox or Box or even Google Drive. But the nice thing is our IT guy is a Mac nerd. We're a very Mac office, and he swears by just this, even though he says, Dropbox is very secure, but there's just another level of security having it on your own private server. So we've been using Cloud Station for about 2 years now, and it works really good remotely. We made a switch towards the fall of last year that all our staff, we went paperless for all our events. And so Cloud Station was something that we're able to do that through our iPads. And so all our clients have folders, and then our staff is able to access everything about that client that we have saved in their folder. And so Cloud Station's been what we've been doing it through. But with that said, you also need some kind of something to share with. So I find a lot of it, we're in the design world where we're setting up a lot of chandeliers and lighting. And so we want files from our photographer friends out there. And this is what I find they use the most for sharing for photos. So you still need some kind of a Dropbox. I did find that we were able to go to a lower Dropbox price point when we added the Cloud Station. So I did save a couple dollars there. But I also find this is sometimes like I've been right now, with everything going on COVID, I've been hosting all the WIPA webinars. And so sometimes a present, like just recently I had David Tatera on one, and they wanted a copy of the recording, and it was just Dropbox is the easiest way to share files as well. So it's a great platform, but there's, like I said, the Cloud Station adds a whole nother level of security. So G Suite. So I'm a big believer. We switched to G Suite about 3 years ago. So even though my email is like kevin@fantasysound.com or kevin@weddingiq.com, it's still on the Gmail platform. And then what's cool is it opens up, like Google Forms, slides, calendars, docs, all that stuff as well. But for me, it converted my POP email, which, I didn't know much difference between POP or IMAP. I just knew that, like my kevin@mac.com, my personal email address, when I deleted it on my iPhone, it deleted it on my desktop computer as well. So with my old POP email, I would go through and I get my email in the morning, delete them from my phone, and then I get to work, and then I'd do the same process all over again. Well, the power in this is it converted all our emails to an IMAP email. So very similar to like my Mac one, so if I respond to a client, it pops up automatically in my desktop version, or if I move it, it goes to the folder I move. I'm not having to do things more than once. So that's why I'm a big believer. Also, once again, you get access to the Google Drive, so another option for Dropbox as well. So contracts. So we've been sending contracts digitally for about 12 years now. We just recently switched to HelloSign. HelloSign is, like I said, like Square was very user-friendly. HelloSign got to be a lot more user-friendly. The company we were with before, we were with them for almost 11 years, then they kept seeming to change hands. Someone else would buy them, and then the pricing got all weird, and then for what they wanted to charge us for one for 1 month is what we would pay for 1 year in the past. And I was like, your pricing is way out of whack. And so we did a little research and we found HelloSign is a great way to do it. We do a lot of volume with contracts, but we also do something what's called a finalization form that our clients have to sign for the events. And so we do a lot of them through HelloSign as well. So it's an easy way to get that email signature. Clients don't have to come in. They can sign them on their phone or tablet. But for the price point, I find it works really well. But you can see I have Adobe Sign on there. Another one is new to the market, Rock Paper Coin. So you're going to be able to, through them, you're going to be able to invoice, do contracts through them, and then also process credit cards. So kind of a little similar to Square, but the girls that created this are out of Seattle area, and they're wedding planners. So they know our market. So they're trying to fill the void, which they feel like HoneyBook and some of those other softwares are leaving. But then there's DocuSign as well. A lot of big companies use DocuSign. I just found HelloSign gives you pretty much all the capabilities DocuSign has for a much better price point. So website tools. So live chat is something that we use on our website, every day that we're in the office. So the biggest thing here is clients will go onto our website. About 30 seconds after they've been on our website, it pops up. You can say, you see Megan's right there. But the cool thing about this is that clients, like I said, we live in the wedding market. A lot of clients plan their weddings while they're at work, or when the boss is not, they're not supposed to be planning their weddings. But this gives them the capability to chat with us without being on the phone, without sending an email. So we have found that we have booked some major pieces of business through live chat. We've had chats last as long as 8 hours, like the whole day that we've been there. But we found it's the best way to help our clients communicate with us, on the platform that they are. And it's great because if the client's on mobile, it'll pop up as well. And it's extremely easy, fast to use. So I highly recommend everyone adding some kind of a messaging type service like live chat to your website. So Hello Bar. So that's the blue bar that you see on the top of our website. So if you were to scroll through our website, that bar never moves. So we use that bar to promote our showcases. So we get clients there because that's what we want. We want our clients to come to our warehouse, look at our products, because that's where we make our most sales. So that, but you can use it as you're having some kind of a promotion or you're, whatever it is. And the nice thing is too, is you can set up an A/B test. So you can find out what message, attracts your clients the most. So, you could change it every day based on, what kind of special you're running that day or whatever it is. It's very easy to use, very inexpensive. And you can theme it to, obviously ours is blue because, that's one of our colors. But you can theme it any color you want, and it works really well. So Canva, when I tell you this, I highly recommend that you hire a professional graphic designer when you need one. But if you need something quick made, it's really easy. Canva is, graphic artists for dummies is what they could have called the company, and it would have explained what they do. But it's really easy to make simple stuff for social media. You can go in and change, your photos. They have a bunch of images that you can do, already there. They make it really simple to do. And I know, we just did a promotion with the local Little League here where we designed a banner, all pre-COVID. We were, this was looking like it was going to be our busiest year ever. And one of the girls that works for me that does Canva went in and designed a banner that said "now hiring" and made it very brand with us. And she did it all in Canva. So for some of the easy things, Canva's great. But like I said, something professionally done, I recommend you hire a graphic artist for that. So Smash Balloons, this is a good way to for your social media content on your website. I highly recommend it. We've been using it now So we list, if you go to our website, it shows our Instagram. It's just a nice feature for your website, and it's a plugin, works really well. It really, the girls, one of the girls that works for me found it and really loves it. So client portal. So this is something that we've been talking about, is having some kind of a portal for our clients, where we could store their documents that they can have access to, that is a little bit more on a higher level than like we share a Dropbox folder with them, or because we wanted a little bit more control, that they can't go in and delete their contracts or any of that. Like we want the control on our end. So this seems to work really well with WordPress. We are in the early stages of trying it out, because that's something, when we come out of COVID, is we're really wanting to have a place where our clients can go and have their documents. We can put in, final planning documents with them, pre-planning documents with them, and then they can work on them, update them, come back to them down the road. We want to make sure that it works really easily on mobile as well as on desktop. So this is one of them that we're working with right now. So obviously Moz is a great SEO tool, Mozbar. It works really well with Chrome if you're a Chrome user, but you can get SEO stats on pretty much every website that you go to. Crazy Egg is a great thing if you want to get analytics on your website about where people are touching, like what buttons are they clicking, and where do you find that they're going the most. It kind of overlays that on your website. It's kind of a creepy tool, because it's like a heat map, and you can see exactly where everyone's going. So travel, not that we're doing a lot of travel right now, but we will get back to traveling soon. I highly recommend TripIt. So I have been using TripIt now probably for about 5-6 years. And the greatest thing is I find it's when you're delayed, I'll get an update on TripIt before actually the airlines. It's sometimes faster than the airlines. The other thing, it says, change your plans. So maybe there's another flight you can take. The other thing is a couple years ago, family was going to Hawaii, and I got an email from TripIt that said, "Hey, we just saved you $300 per person." And I'm like, "What?" And I didn't believe it. I'm like, too good to be true kind of thing. But no, the fare that we were on, the fare actually went down. So I was able to call Hawaiian Airlines, got the lower fare, and got credited $300 per person. So in my mind, they actually, for the amount of money, it's $69 that we spend on it a year. It's just, for me, I put all my travel documents on one spot. The cool thing is from my email address, I send it to plans@tripit.com, and they automatically take hotel reservation, credit card, or, rental car reservations. You can go in and put your reservations for, dinner, anything, shows, anything you're going, all in one spot, all in your app, with all your confirmation numbers. And it always makes me laugh when you go to check into a hotel and you see people with their manila folder and they're fumbling through all their papers to find everything. It's like, I don't need to do that anymore, because everything's on my phone. So highly recommend it. Social media. So If This Then That is a really fun app. I use a lot for, they call them recipes. So you can see on here, if I use Instagram, then I want it to do that, or if I do this, can you post that? So there's so many recipes, and they work with so many different app developers that you can automate a lot of your things and have things going behind the scenes. Like if you are get tagged in a Facebook photo, one of the recipes on here, it will automatically put it in a Dropbox folder for you. So, and there's so many, I go on there. It's one of my things I put in my, as a to-do for me every week, is I just kind of go in every week and look for a new recipe or look for something that might save me time or money. But I love If This Then That. Planoly. So with social media, you need to, schedule, have a plan with what you're doing. And the thing I love is my whole world, what we do right now is Instagram. That's where my clients are living. So this kind of, you can start planning your Instagram for the month, for the week, or however often you want to post, but you get like kind of a snapshot view of what you're doing and what we're scheduling and where it's going and what time we're scheduling it at. And so I found we've tried a bunch of different platforms, and for us, Planoly seems to work the best. And we were able to let, people that we, people, virtual assistants that we hire or whatever, they can have easy access. We can take their access away without having them have our password to our Instagram and stuff. So Planoly just saves you time, makes it life easier. And the biggest thing is you can get a really good idea of where you're going with your social media, have a really good brand strategy for yourself. So Snapseed is one of the greatest WIPA events I ever went to. Was a photographer that taught us how to use our iPhone a whole lot better, and how to take amazing photos with our iPhone. And I was like, I went into that thinking I wasn't not going to learn that much. It was probably still this day one of the best WIPA meetings I ever went to, because I learned so much. And one of the apps that she highly recommends was Snapseed. So I got it, and I still this day use it. And it's a lot of fun. It's easy to convert things to black and white, or play with it, give it a blurred look, or there's so many filters and so many different things that you can do. And it's really easy on your phone on the go to give you some very professional looking photos. So Animoto, is a great for videos. So if you're, in the world that we live in, video or king. So you basically take all your videos, throw it in there, and it'll create a little file of or a little video clip of all your photos. It's really simple to use. We find that, like if I'm doing a venue showcase and we're at that venue, for one of their like open houses or bridal fairs or something, we'll just take all the photos that we have from that venue, throw it in Animoto, and let them create a little, 1 minute, 2 minute little highlight that just repeats itself over and over again. And it's an easy way to make quick and easy videos out of photos. And you can overlay text onto it. You can, put music to it, all the above. So WordSwag, this is a great one for social media. As you can see on there, it's very attractive, makes your text look like it's artwork. It really looks like a designer did something for you. So highly recommend WordSwag, just to step up your social media game. So here's a bunch of other apps, like Later was something that we used before Planoly. Hootsuite, if you're a big Twitter person, I find Hootsuite's good, but there's so many, social media, there's so many different apps that you can have, and here's a bunch of them for you. All right, project management, kind of another kind of boring one, kind of topics, but Evernote is my favorite. Probably of all my apps, I get asked this question, is like, what is your favorite all-time app? And Evernote is my favorite all-time app. I use this every day, multiple times throughout the day. I'm in Evernote. I have, basically you have little notebooks, and you can create who can see your notebooks, who can edit in your notebooks, and all that kind of stuff. So I have like a notebook with all my key staff people. I have a notebook for my wife, and I have a notebook for shopping, has a Target list, grocery list, Costco list, all the above in there. I even have stuff I keep for my kids. I have stuff on here for WIPA, for NACE. It's one place to throw all your information in, and everyone, I can store documents in there. I even have the Evernote scanner. So when I scan, it scans directly to Evernote. So I could probably do a whole talk on Evernote and things that you can do with it. The one thing I will tell you, I always put the to-do feature on there because their to-do feature is horrible. So I don't use the to-do feature on their for them, because I found that it didn't work for me. But they have all kinds of different pre-templates that it makes, if you're wanting to do some project management stuff through it, anything you want, and you can edit on the fly, edit on your iPad, edit on your phone. It's really easy to do. I even have a note on my, in one of my folders that I called my dump note. And what I do is anytime I get an idea, no matter where I am, I just write it down so I don't forget, because I'm getting older now and I will forget. But that's where I throw everything. So then that way, once a day, at the end of the day, I go through my dump note and clean out stuff. And maybe it's something I need to add to Todoist, or maybe I need to add to my staff meeting agenda, or whatever, the note, whatever it is. It's one place that I dump stuff into, and then I go through at the end of the day and disperse it. But Evernote, very powerful, and I recommend paying for it because you get so much more features for the sharing. And I told you that I didn't like the to-do part of Evernote, and I use Todoist. So Todoist is my favorite app, my second favorite app, and I'm probably in there multiple times, like I said, throughout the day, marking off stuff. And the cool thing is we use it here at, let me go back. We use it here at Fantasy Sound, but the power I like out of it is I can assign a Todoist task to one of my staff members. I could tell them when I want it done by, and when they complete the task, I get notified. And I even, for some reason, the feature works really well on my watch, and so I get the updates first on my watch before I get them anywhere else. But and so I know, oh, yep, Connor did what I wanted him to do. Oh, no, Megan did what I want. So it's a good way to kind of hold your staff accountable as well as your self accountable, and it works like from desktop to the iPad to iPhone. It works seamlessly all the way across through. So Basecamp, this is a really powerful project. So if you're working on multiple things, need documents, need all that kind of stuff, and it's just a little bit of a deeper level than something that you would get from Evernote. Because the cool thing is you can assign tasks, and so like I said, we're working on some kind of a portal when we come out of it. And one of the things we are considering is Basecamp, and then we would give all our clients Basecamp access to their own folder, because that's the thing. It's, once again, it's like little folders. And so we were wanting something that we can log in through our website, and then we even I'm going to mention it coming up. We found something that will work and even create its own app. So we're still debating, but I use Basecamp in a couple different, in my Whippa life. I use it with my publicists, so it works very well. And the cool thing is, once again, it's a lot of accountability with this app as well. And the paid that one, you have to use the paid version. So Wufoo is a great, easy to build forms. You can create a quick contact form. Like I said, maybe you're going to the vendor showcase that night, and instead of having them, input stuff through a website, if you don't have the ability to create a quick form on your website, this is something that you can do. We've used it for voting. We've used it for polling our clients. You could use it as, have them review you, get like a questionnaire at the end. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. And I do the small paid version with it, but we found there's a lot of power in this, and it's really easy to use, and you don't even need to be a web developer to set up a quick, easy form. So 1Password. So this is a great app. So it's just like it says, 1Password. So you can see all the things on the screen there, like Facebook and Fitbit and Gmail, and you can Evernote, and you name it on there. Like even my staff has the Amazon. But what it is we've created vaults, is what they call them. And so in the vault is certain staff members can have the password to access to get into those websites. But the thing is they never know what the password is. And so most of the time we've gone in with 1Password and set up a really encrypted long password. It gets saved into 1Password. And then what we do is, once we set up a staff member, they go in there and they only need their 1Password that they set up when they initially did their setup. That's all they need to access all our passwords. And once again, it's all done through the computer. They never see, they can't change the passwords, and it's really cool. So what we found, so you get a disgruntled employee leaves, and you don't have to worry about changing all the passwords to everything that they had access to, so they don't go on Facebook and say something damaging about you or do something bad for you. You just simply go in and remove them from 1Password, and they no longer have access to anything they had access to in the past. So it's really easy to use, and it's definitely, I highly recommend it, and it's worth the money. So here's some other ones, Toggle, or Hours Keepers. Some people need to keep track of hours, or even some, there's a couple of wedding planner friends of mine. They like to know like how much time they have actually spent with a client. on their, on their wedding. They consider their wedding like a project. And so how much time did it actually physically take them to produce that wedding? And some of them use Hours Keeper because it's really easy to use. So good apps. Event planning software. So Social Tables is great. I find we use, I'm going to mention All Seated in a little bit as well. I just find Social Tables is a little bit more powerful, in my opinion, than All Seated because it's exact. An engineer went in and measured the room, and if it's 98 feet and 4 inches, that's exactly the space you have to deal with when you're doing it. All Seated is all kind of, hey, you send in measurements and goes from there. So it's never 100% exact. And Social Tables is 100% exact. And as you can see, you can dump in, stages and rounds and, rectangles and oval shapes and cocktail table. I mean, you name it. They even have, like tech table and all kinds of stuff. You put it all in there and you're going to get a really good view of what your layout is. And the nice thing is they have cloud-based options now as well. For a while there, they weren't as user-friendly as they've really, I think since All Seated came around, they became a whole lot more user-friendly. And the 3D version of it is pretty cool as well. So 17 hats. So this is a good way, one of those, kind of a CRM, kind of a Todoist meets Evernote meets, it's kind of one of those, it's 17 hats because it wears a bunch of different hats and does a bunch of different stuff. But it's like a pretty powerful like CRM type of thing. You can process your credit cards on here as well. So there's I find a lot of my wedding friends use it. I don't personally use it because we are an inventory-based company, so we use something else, and I'll explain that in a minute. So aisle planner, if you're planning weddings, this is a good one. The nice thing is you can be planning one wedding and you can give your clients access to it, and you can assign them tasks and keep track of, or everything in there all in one. It's just like a catch-all for that one wedding. Everything lives in one spot. So a lot of my wedding planner friends use Aisle Planner as well as Honeybook. So Honeybook processes the credit cards. They started out as a credit card processor, and then the CRM came after. That's why my opinion is the Aisle Planner is a little bit better on the CRM part because the Honeybook was developed as we're going to process credit cards, but we need people to do a little bit more than just processing credit cards. So that's where the rest of it, you can do your contracts through them. So you can, eliminate a lot of different things. And unfortunately, it doesn't work for my company. So that's, you got to find what works for you. So Moxtra is the one that we were talking about, is the app. We're working on, this is the one that we've been leaning towards the most for creating a client portal, because there will be a Fantasy Sound app that lives in the Apple Store and the Android store as well. But it's one place. You give your clients access, and then we all work out of that one place to work on their wedding. So like I said, this is the one we're leaning towards. We're really trying to have some kind of a portal for our clients. And this one right now is in the lead. So All Seated, the one thing I will say All Seated has done a really good job with is through this whole process is they were kind of in the forefront of like, hey, we're going to need a social distance at events. And so they were working really well with a lot of the venues that they have in their platform for social distancing. And what does that mean in those rooms? So they've done a good job. But they also, you can, manage guest lists, timelines, you name it, you could do it through the All Seated platform. It used to be free. When they first came out, they said they were always going to be free, and it was too good to be true because now it's a paid service. But it's definitely worth it. It's a lot less than Social Tables, but it's just not 100% exact. It's about 95% exact on the room side. So if you have a little bit of play and you can get away with that, then All Seated is good for you. So Timeline Genius is, basically what it is. It's a timeline genius. No, I'm just joking. But no, it's a really good way to manage a client's timeline. And the kind of nice thing about, I find, with Timeline Genius is that you can go over and tag who sees that So like not everyone, like their first example is rental delivery items. Not everyone needs to know when the rental delivery items are coming. So you mark on that where the little arrow is there, you mark who sees what. So when you give your timelines to your DJ, the band, to the florist, to whatever, they're only seeing the things that they need to see. And there's a lot of power in this. Anytime I receive a timeline through this, I'm like, all right, it just makes a whole lot more sense, and it's organized whole lot better. There's a wedding planner that I work with here in the Bay Area, and anytime I work a wedding with them, I get a 48-page document. And it's like I don't need 48 pages to execute a wedding. So it just gets to be a lot of white noise at one point. So I find giving people exactly what they want. He can move to this platform. I've actually suggested it to him a couple times. He doesn't want to do it, but he can move to this platform, and then people would probably have a 1-2 page, that just applied to their discipline, and it would make life a whole lot easier. But great platform, really good people that are behind it. They're doing a lot of good stuff, and they're really listening to our industry as well. So good stuff there. So Slido, so this is a great thing if you're doing like corporate events and you want audience participation. And so you set it up, put it on the screen, and then everyone can be answering through the app on their phone or their iPad, and you're going to get real-time results to questions. So if you're a speaker or if you're polling people, what do you want to do for dinner? I don't know if you'd go that far, but you can have a lot of fun with audience participation, through this. So you can see a lot of people use it, and a lot of fun for the corporate world. So, CRM, you need some kind of a CRM. It always blows my mind when someone goes, oh, I keep track of all my clients in a Dropbox file or in a Google Drive or an Excel spreadsheet. You need something to keep track of your folks. And, so I always recommend doing something, Good Shuffle or Sugar or Insightly. But what I use is Flex, because we do a lot of rentals. It's mainly geared for the AV world, but we were able to convert it to make it work the best for our company. We looked really hard at moving to Good Shuffle Pro. They were doing a lot of promotion with the NACE group for a while, and it didn't calculate a couple things. And we actually, when we started figuring it out, it wasn't as customizable as it says it is. So it's a little bit more as far as sexy as things look a lot more the way it functions compared to what we use. But what we use, I can go in and change things instantly. I don't have to send it in as a ticket item through them to get it updated. So that's the cool thing. I can add new products. I can add, I decide to change a price on something. It's really simple to do. So, but you need a CRM no matter what you do, how big or small. All right, and these are just for fun. All right, everyone needs a Bitmoji. So if you don't have a Bitmoji, I highly recommend you get one. Even though they've been around for a while, a lot of people still don't have them, and it's a fun way to communicate with people. And I like to be a little sassy, and it's a fun way to be sassy. So TikTok is making its way into the wedding industry. There's a gentleman named Jose Rolón who's in our industry. He's a planner out of New York, and I think he's more TikTok famous than he is wedding famous, because he's becoming the man on TikTok. But we go out and we do SOPs with all our chapters, and I first learned about it from our New York chapter in February of this year. And they were, every other word out of their mouth, oh, we got to TikTok this. This is a TikTok moment. And then at first I was like, what is this? And I think through the whole COVID thing, it's taken by storm. So I think you should, we went in and took our name, from there, even though we don't know what we're going to do with it yet. So anytime any kind of new social media platform comes out, I recommend you go in and get your name. Whatever you use all the time, go and just get that. And even though you may not be using it, then that way, when you do get to the point where you are using it, you can, you own it. But I think before you know it, maybe in 2021, this might be something that we're doing social media wise with our clients. So it's starting to take the world by storm. So another one, Easy Measure. So you can measure things really simply on your phone. I use this app a lot. Sometimes I'll be at an event site, or I'm working a wedding and someone goes, "Hey, do you think you can put drapery over here and from here to there and do this, like for a future event?" And I don't have I have a rolling stick and all this stuff that I normally bring with me when I do site surveys, and I don't have that stuff with me. But with Easy Measure, I can measure stuff really quickly. And, it's pretty accurate. It's not 100% accurate, but I would say it's pretty about like 98% accurate. But it's a good little app to have on your phone because you never know when you need to measure something. So dark sky, this is cool because it's GPS weather. So even though you're looking at the Weather Channel and it says it's going to do this in the city, well, a city like Las Vegas is really big. It actually microclimates on dark sky, and it'll tell you exactly what when rain's going to hit or whatever. And I know a lot of my photographer friends use this because they're like, "Hey, sun's setting at this time. It's about to rain at this time. I need to go now. I need to do this." So a lot of my friends will use it. I downloaded it after my photographer friends used it, and you get GPS located, microclimate. You know exactly what's happening right where you are. And then calm, we all need a little calm in our life. So this is a good way to relax. I have this app loaded on my phone, and there's a watch app version for it. And every once in a while it pops up and tells me I need to calm down and I need to open up my calm app. So I think it's told me that more through this whole COVID stuff than anything, but it's a good little app. Sometimes we just need to chill out, and so this is a good app for that. So Marco Polo, fun app. You can leave video messages back and forth. Megan Ely's going to owe me money because I mentioned her name now this third time, but Megan and I will talk back and forth through Marco Polo. And, she was on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. And this is a way that we can actually communicate with each other, for a variety of different things, and without having to have a text or phone. And we can actually see each other's expressions. So it's kind of interesting. I find that, sometimes I'm like, we have some fun conversations through there, but I can see us using this more and more as this app platform grows. And then strides. This is a fun way to track your goals. So if you're trying to create a habit, I've used this to just create habits, and you keep track of your stuff, and it'll tell you how many times throughout the day you did something or how many times throughout the week you did something. So it's a good way to keep you motivated. It'll tell you like how often you had a streak and all that kind of stuff. But I've used this for a couple different things, just for, I wanted to build better habits for exercise, and this is a good way to do it, the one thing I recently learned is I don't drink enough water. So and I have not set it up yet, but this is something I've been wanting to do, set up strides for drinking more water throughout the day. So, you can keep it for a bunch of different things, regardless what it is. It's a good, fun app to have, especially if you're a goal-oriented person and you want to build better habits. So I'm a big wine person, so the Vino, and then also I have on here Hello Vino. It's a good way. So if you're out somewhere, you could take a photo of the label. So if you're out to dinner and enjoy that wine, you could take a photo of the label and actually store it. So then that way you'll remember it. It'll tell you how much that bottle of wine costs, not restaurant price, but real price. It'll give you the rating on it. You can rate it. It could give you a lot of definition on it, but it's a fun one to have, so the Vino and Hello Vino. So, and then Foxit PDF Reader. So this is an app that I've been using now for about 4 years, and I've never had to pay for the paid version of it. But I was telling you about that gentleman that did the 48-page timeline. So anytime I get anything for the weddings I'm working, I put it all together in one PDF and I upload it to my Foxit PDF reader. And then that way it's on my iPad, it's on whatever I have logged into my Foxit PDF reader, and I can pull it up and I can write over a document. I can, do all kinds of different things, but I have no longer am I killing trees, and everything's in one spot. And because most of the time you would have all these pages to execute an event, and then after the event, you don't most of the time you don't even look back on it. But if you are someone like me that does look back on it to learn from, how to get better, I can just open up my Foxit PDF app and then go from there. So, and then that's it. Anthony, any questions?
No? Oh, well, yes. I certainly learned a lot. There's a lot of apps that I was just writing down as we go. I'll definitely take advice on that TripIt app. I am one of those guilty parties that bring in that manila folder with all
Oh,
my confirmations.
I won't make fun of you when I see you
Yeah.
checking in a hotel. That is, I don't know why it's one of those things when I see people checking into a hotel, I'm like, you don't need that. So save a tree. And then, and then you always will, Anthony, you're young enough where you always have your phone with you no matter where you are. So you have everything with you wherever you go. So
That's right. That's right. I was going to say TikTok. I have yet to even upload or download that, but it seems like everyone is on board with that app.
Well, and to be honest with you, I think it hit the East Coast. We're
Yeah.
West Coast people. I think it's taken a little bit longer to get over to us, but it hit the East Coast by storm. It's crazy. So, and I actually think you would be hilarious with a
Oh
TikTok.
gosh.
Yeah, you could probably be a TikTok star. So.
All right. So for the audience, any questions for Kevin? I know we went through a lot of apps. Not to worry. This webinar is being recorded, and we will have it uploaded to our TISOH channel at YouTube. So subscribe to us on YouTube at TISOH channel. The recording will be updated about the next day.
Perfect. That's fast.
Any questions? Submit it through the chat or put it on the Q&A icon.
The one thing I will say is try to find one app and just don't try to, make a list of apps that you want to go after, but don't try to implement more than one or two at a time. Because I've had people that I've tried to implement 5 and it's just like take the time, implement one app, learn one app, make sure it works for you, and then move on to the next one. Because you'll get overwhelmed really, really quickly.
With the COVID happening, is there an app that you find that you're using so much more that you have never used before? Obviously Zoom.
I was going to say it's Zoom. Well, I mean, everything is, I've Zoomed more, but I was Zooming a lot before we went into COVID. Because like I said, Bay Area, it's crazy. I do find, because my staff, we do at 4 o'clock every day, we're on a Zoom call with each other. But we're all kind of still back in the office, so we're not Zooming as much as we were. But I would find Evernote is something that I've been using a lot through this as well, because I'm just organizing my thoughts and organizing ideas, and I've been cleaning out, I've been using this time to we've built new products, because we custom build a lot of our chandeliers and stuff. And so we've custom built, some of that stuff, but, we're keeping our notes in there. And I would say Evernote would be one that I'm using the most through COVID. So, and games. I'm a big Pokemon Go guy, so.
All right. Well, thank you all for attending tonight's webinar.